everyone, and welcome to my corner of the world. Today I have a 3D item to share with you, and it's a Christmas, if you like, Christmas tree decoration that I have made using designer series paper. So I am going to share with you how I've done that. So the paper I've used on this particular one is the Peaceful Place Specialty Designer Series paper. And the one I'm going to share with you today, I'm using the Tidings of Christmas paper. Now, the Peaceful Place Designer Series paper, I was able to make this out of 2/3 of a sheet of 12 by 12. So I've chosen designs, two designs that I used. Now for the second one I'm going to share is the Tidings of Christmas. This is in the nice blues and greens, and this comes in 6 by 6. So it was like 2.5 sheets of 6 by 6, which when you think about it is about 2/3, would be about 2/3 of a sheet of the 12 by 12. So that is my paper. Now I've used the Stitched Stars dies, and this set has got lots of stars, and it's got like sort of two sets of 2 different sizes. So I used this set. I used the 3 in that, but I could have used one of the slightly larger dies. But anyway, this is what I chose. I chose these ones here. And what I did was I cut 5 of the large ones, 5 of the medium ones, and then I just cut 3 of the tiniest ones. And that piece, that one is up the top here, just sort of snuggled against my little bit of bow there. So I cut those out using my cut and emboss machine, and then I took each one in turn with my score, Simply Score, and I scored each of them in half. Now how I did that was like this. Just choose any score line, it doesn't matter which. I happen to choose the 5, and I've put my score tool on the 5, and I'm going to run it down a little way so I know which is my 5-inch groove. As I said, it doesn't matter which one you use as long as you use the same one. So I'm going to put the very point of my star up against or in the little 5 at the top, and then I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to make sure that the very point up here is over my score tool, and I'm just going to gently put in a score line. Hopefully you can just see that score line. It might be easier to see it on the back. So I'll just show you how to do that again. So again, you're going to take your star, you're going to put your tip of your scoring tool at any groove, just pull it down, then put the tip of your star up into the little top of that particular groove. Bring this up so that it hits the apex there, and just gently put in a score line. You don't want to put too heavy, because this little tool will cut through your paper if you're not careful. So you will do all the pieces like that, the 5 large ones, the 5 medium ones, and the 3 tiny ones. Then you want to gently fold them in half, and I use the score line as a guide rather than as absolute. So it's softened the paper, and I'm just going to squeeze the tips of my pieces together like this, and then just put in my score, and then use my bone folder to just put in the rest of that score. So this one again, I'm going to start making sure that the points are lined up, and you can just use your fingers to sort of shimmy them together like that, and then just gently work in, and then make sure you get a good point here, and then put in with your bone folder. So then you're going to end up with 5 stars folded in half. Now, rather than you sit and watch me make all of them, I have already assembled them. So I'm going to put the last 2 pieces in now. And for this one, I'm definitely going to encourage you to use liquid adhesive, because it will allow you to, I use the word sort of shimmy, but just gently maneuver in the pieces. And so you're going to use this, and you're going to make sure that you put a little on the tip of those, and then in here like that. And then you're going to place, if it helps, you can hold it in half. You're going to place your scored edge into the piece, into the edge there. And then again, using your fingers and thumb, you can line up these points. And as I say, because you're using liquid glue, it will slide and line up beautifully. And as I say, you need to make sure that you do put adhesive on those tips, otherwise they'll flap around. And then you'll build them up. So just build up the last few, and I'm going to make sure I got my glue on my tip. I think you can just see. And then I'm going to take this piece and lay it in, and squeeze the tips and just line up the edges like that. And it just takes a little bit of patience, and you get a little bit of adhesive on your fingers. Now, I found it best if you assemble like 2 pieces on this on one star, and then set it aside for a few moments, and then do the same thing on your medium star and set it aside, and then on your little star, and then it gives that chance to dry, and then go back and put a couple more pieces on, and you can build it up like that. Now, I've got all 3 stars that have got a piece that is that have got 2 pieces that are not joined together. So there they are. So that's that one. This one should be here, and this one has only got 3 pieces, and that's because, to be honest with you, 5 of these tinsy wincy little stars was just too much to try and get into one place, so I just used 3. So I've opened them on the bits that are open, and I'm now going to put the string in. Now, I'm using the Simply Elegant trim, and it comes in silver and gold in the same packet. I used the silver one on this one, and now I'm going to use the gold on here. Now I'm going to line these up, and to be honest with you, it doesn't matter whether you have them going up in size or going down in size. So I'm actually going to put this one together, so the largest one is at the top. So I'm going to lay my trim in the groove, as it were, and I need to leave enough for this to make a little loop. Okay, so that's on the groove there, and I'm going to use my glue dots to hold it in place to stop it sliding out if it you know, when it's being hung up. So I'm just going to open it up and flip that back and put in a glue dot. Now you could use your liquid glue again, but it would take a bit of time to dry. Do not use a hot glue gun. I tried, and the thing is that hot glue is very bulky, and so when you try to close it up, you've got a big chunk of liquid glue. So I have literally just got my glue dot and I've just placed it underneath, and I'm mashing my piece of twine, my piece of trim into the, oh, my finger keeps taking it away. Darn, darn, darn. Like that. And you see, I've just placed it. Let's see if I can get the light to catch it. There it is. And now I'm just going to put my piece of twine, and then I'm just going to use my tool here to just kind of mash it in so that it all is now sort of firmly held. So now I'm going to move it down, and this time I think I'm just going to put my glue dot in without trying to juggle with the trim. And this time, because it's smaller, I'm just going to put one in. There we go. And I need to decide how distant I need it to be. So I think I'm pretty much maybe it's a couple of inches. Alrighty, and so slide my piece of trim in, and then just as I did before, mash it down so it's held in place. And then last but not least, my teeny weeny tiddly widdly one. Again, got my glue dot. Just hope the glue dot isn't too bulky for this one. There. Now you stay. It wants to come off. Eek. There we go. And I'm just going to lay this across like that. And this time I'm going to trim it off, and I need to trim it off so that my raw end is not visible. There we go. I think I've got it there. And then just mash that down. Okay, and now clear all my mess up. We can go in and I can put my adhesive. I only need to put it on one side here, making sure that I get my tip, and up here as well. There we go. And I can just gently squeeze those together. And again, I can use my finger and thumb to just line it up. Just make sure that my piece of cord there, my trim, is coming out of the point. Hopefully you can just see that. There we go. And then repeat for my middle one. Now the information for this, the details for this will be on my blog. And if you look below this video, you will see a link to that, and you'll be able to go along and have a little look. And it will be, as I say, there'll be the details of how I created my little ornament. Now you'll see on this one, I did put some rhinestones on it. And so you could do the same with this, you know, put some rhinestones or gems, whatever, to make it a little bit more sparkly. And I'm sure I will go back and do that, but you don't need me to show you how to put sparkles on. And again, I'm going to just make sure that my piece of trim is coming out of the tip of my star, like that. Squeeze it close together, and then you can plump them up afterwards. And there we go. Hey, yes, that looks really good. I'm very fond of that. And then at the end, I am just going to add a little ribbon, a bow. And for this one, I am going to use the Real Red, let me remind myself, sheer ribbon. And I'm just going to take another glue dot and attach that on. And I'm just going to pop it. I nearly forgot a step. I'm going to bring this down with a glue dot. I'm going to make a loop and bring it down with another glue dot. It doesn't matter which side I choose, so I'm just going to choose this side, I think. Bring that down, and I'm going to mash that in. Now, I could have tucked it inside, I guess, but I was a bit concerned about too much bulk inside, because that will be hidden, because I've got my little bow here that I'm going to put in there to hold that, and I get that. So there I've got my two, and I'm sure the pictures that I will post with these will show them better hanging up. So the silvery one, I used the white glittered organza ribbon on that one. And you might be interested to know how I kind of started with this. Rather than use my precious paper, I used some of the backing sheet, the backing card from a packet of DSP, and I made this sort of prototype. And that's where I discovered that card is really a little bit too thick. You can see I just did this. I did this with 5, and I really wasn't happy with how the top piece was going together. And that's when I decided that I would use paper, the designer series paper. But that's how I start with my, planning, is to use paper or card that doesn't really matter before I start cutting into my precious designer series paper. So I do hope that you have enjoyed me sharing this little 3D Christmas tree ornament. I've certainly enjoyed sharing it with you. As I say, look below this video and you'll see a link to my blog, which also has a link to my online store if you'd like to go ahead and buy the supplies. If you've enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you don't already do so, perhaps you'll go ahead and also subscribe to my channel. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Bye for now.